Yetziat Mitzrayim. The Jewish people are ready to go out of Egypt, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says this following line: Kadesh li kol bechor, peter kol rechem b'vnei Yisrael, ba'adam u'b'behema, lihu. Lihu, it's mine. And Rashi is bothered by that phrase, lihu, it's mine. Surely everything in the world is Hashem's. So says Rashi, lihu latzmi kenitim, I've acquired the firstborns, al yedei shihiketi b'chorei Mitzrayim. By the fact that I wiped out the firstborns in Egypt, I acquired for myself the firstborns of the Jewish people. Now, there's something so interesting here. Hashem sometimes makes a plan that doesn't go according to plan, because Hashem did give us free will. So it's up to us how we're going to behave. And then Hashem makes plan B. Hashem's plan was the Jews would be in Eretz Yisrael. But He gave us free choice. If the Jews don't behave appropriately, then we'll be leaving Eretz Yisrael. But eventually we'll come back to plan A. And the goal is obviously to return to Eretz Yisrael. The same thing happened here with the Bechor. Initially the Bechor was supposed to be the one serving in the Beis HaMikdash. And until Matan Torah, it was the Bechor who was serving in all the generations. Suddenly comes along Yetziat Mitzrayim, and Hashem kills all the Bechor. He acquires the Bechor to do his avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, sanctifying the firstborns, making sure that now for the rest of history, in the Beis HaMikdash, the Kohanim are going to be the firstborns. And it doesn't last very long, because they get to Chet HaEgel, and the firstborns don't stand up to the test. And the Kedusha transfers from the firstborns, who are supposed to be the ones who are holy over here, and it transfers over to the Kohanim, the Leviim, and the Kohanim amongst the Leviim, to the descendants of Aaron HaKohen. And here's the question. In the same way as the Jews were supposed to be in Israel, but then we lost the opportunity, we went to exile, but then eventually we come back, is that going to happen with the Bechor as well? If the Bechor was supposed to be Hashem's Kohanim, and then we lost the opportunity with Chet HaEgel, in the future, is it going to go back to being the Bechor again? And if it is, which Bechor? Because the Pasuk here, it speaks about the Kedusha, only speaks about Kadesh li kol peter rechem, meaning only the firstborn via the mother, but not the firstborn via the father. So what will happen in the future? So the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, in his Pasuk, in his Parsha, on Parshat Vayechi, is talking about the bracha that Hashem gave to Reuven. And it says that it's a bracha, but if you read it, it sounds like it's a klala. Everything that Yaakov says to Reuven. So the Orach Chaim is looking, what's the bracha in what Yaakov said to Reuven? And he says, here's the bracha. Reuven bechori ata, you're my firstborn. Meaning he was giving him a bracha that you're going to be the firstborn even in the future. The bechor is not going to lose the right long term. That was the bracha that Yaakov Avinu was giving to Reuven, that even though the Bechor is going to lose the being a Kohen, eventually it will come back in the future. The Jews were in Israel, they went to exile, they came back to Israel. The Bechor were the Kohanim, it moved over to the Shevet Levi, children of Aaron, it's going to go back to the Bechor. What about the Kohanim? Are they going to get left out? No, they're not going to get left out. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh writes that Ma'alin b'Kodesh ve'ein moridin, which means that not only will the Bechor be working in the Beis HaMikdash in the future, the Kohanim will be working alongside them. They'll be working together, the Bechor together with the Kohen. Now, which Bechor is it exactly? Is it the Bechor of the mother, Kol Peter Rechem, like the Pasuk says, or is it the Bechor also from the father? So this is very interesting. The Halacha says regarding Tanit Bechorot. So we have a minhag until this day that the firstborn is supposed to fast. Many exempt it with a siyum, but the Halacha is that firstborn is supposed to fast on Erev Pesach, and the Shulchan Aruch writes there that it's the firstborn bein min ha'av, bein min ha'em. Firstborn whether from the father, whether from the mother, which is very interesting, because the firstborn who was made holy, Kodesh, was only from the mother, not from the father. So the Ramban tries to explain what happened. Really, in Egypt, and this is what Rashi brings on the Pasuk, really in Egypt, the firstborns, both from the father and from the mother, meaning either from the father or from the mother, the firstborns were killed. And when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to transfer that Kedusha over to the firstborns of the Jews, Lihu, like this Pasuk said, he really should have transferred it over to the firstborns, whether from the father or whether from the mother. But it's just impossible to always know, because the firstborn also applies to an animal. And with an animal, it's impossible to know if it's a firstborn to a father. Maybe with a mother you could tell, but with the father, how could you tell? And even within people, it's not always possible to know if it's the father's first child. With the mother, you know it's her first child. So the Ramban writes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that, for a technical point, it's only going to be the firstborn from the mother, because that way you can tell for sure that the Kedusha is only the firstborn of the mother. From the father, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows, but we don't always know. So from a technical point, the firstborn only applies from the mother, and the Pidyon Bechor that we do today is only from the mother. But as far as Tanit Bechorot, that's going back to what happened to the Egyptians. There, the firstborn of the mother and of the father fast. One other very interesting application of where a Bechor still has Kedusha today is regarding washing the hands of the Kohanim. The Kohanim wash hands when they duchen today. The Levi washes the hands of the Kohen. Where does that come from? The Beit Yosef writes he has no idea where that comes from, but he says that he saw that it's the minhag in Ashkenaz and it's the minhag in Sfarad that the Levi washes the hands of the Kohen. The Beit Yosef writes that he then saw it in the Zohar in Parshas Naso, that the Kohen is holy. There's a need to add holy to the holy. Losif kedusha al kedusha. So the Levi comes and washes the hands of the Kohen, and that way you're adding kedusha to kedusha. And the halacha, the Magen Avraham writes that if there's no Levi in the shul, then a Bechor who also has kedusha, he's Peter Kol Rechem, Hashem made him holy as well, then he's able in the place of the Levi to go and wash the hands. So today, with Tanit Bechorot and with the washing of the hands, Bechor still have a level of kedusha. The Bechor, even of the father, still has the Tanit Bechorot, and may we be zoche b'mhera v'yameinu, that just like the Jews returned to Eretz Yisrael and Hashem's original plan came to fruition, so too the Bechor should accompany the Kohanim serving in the Beis HaMikdash like HaKadosh Baruch Hu's original plan was. Have a wonderful Shabbos.